Hey guys, happy Friday. It's time for Puck It with Joe. It is Friday, February 24th. We got 6 games on the ice, and before you say it, I know Columbus Blue Jackets not able to get it done last night, but we look at that game. The Minnesota Wild came out strong in that first period offensively, getting the 2 goals, and that game ended 2-0 for the Columbus Blue Jackets. So I'm not writing it off as a terrible bet. It would have been a terrible bet if the Wild just kept going and going and going. But I think a first period there, definitely I can live with the fact that Columbus kept it tight in the second and third. Big shout out to you guys. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here with me each and every day. And happy Friday to you guys. Remember, I am spontaneous on when these shows go off on the weekend. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Well, you don't have to like it. Hit the subscribe button over on YouTube so you can get notified when I decide to go live. You also need those notifications because my Cup of Joe just came out. So if you're looking for that, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Atlanta Hawks. It is up on YouTube, so check it out. You guys, we're going to jump into these 6 games. I'm also going to have some more college basketball picks for you later as well, you guys. So let's get to today's NHL slate. I'm liking today's games. We've got some good games on the board. We have some teams on back-to-backs, like that Minnesota Wild team is playing again tonight versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're going to look first at the Buffalo Sabres and the Florida Panthers. Now, this one is a high total sitting here at 7, but rightly so. We have 2 offenses that are really getting these shots on goal. They're accumulating the goals too, with the Buffalo Sabres coming in averaging 3.73 and the Florida Panthers averaging that 3.45. Shots on goal, also extremely high, especially for the Florida Panthers at 36.4, which is first overall in the league. And the Buffalo Sabres, 32.3. I expect these shots to be coming in. Now, again expected in goal for the Buffalo Sabres. And we have Bobrovsky here, expected for the Florida Panthers. Bobrovsky, I do trust more. He's got a 3.12 goals against average. Buffalo's really struggled versus the Florida Panthers. We have seen strong trends towards the road team in this matchup, but Sabres in Florida, it hasn't gone well. 3-13 in the last 16 meetings in Florida, 8-25 in those last 33 meetings overall. I don't know if I can trust the Buffalo Sabres here in this one. They are off that beautiful overtime win versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. It was a 6-5 win. Now we're seeing the Florida Panthers roll in here off a win on Monday in overtime versus the Ducks. That was a 4-3 win there. They have the Tampa Bay Lightning coming up on their schedule. Now, when I look at who these teams just defeated, Buffalo just defeated a way harder team in the Tampa Bay Lightning than the Florida Panthers did in the Anaheim Ducks. Alexander Barkov is out for this game, so that is a hit for the Florida Panthers. I could see the Sabres keeping this one tighter than what we saw back in January with the Florida Panthers winning that one 4-1. I think the best way, though, to take this one is just to hit it over the total of 7. I do expect a 4-3 style game in this one. I do think Buffalo will be able to score. After being able to score on the Tampa Bay Lightning, they give me a lot of faith here coming into this one. I think we see the goals, and we see a lot of them. Now, that over 1.5 for that first period is going to be too highly juiced, but both teams to score, you guys, is something that I do like in this. So that's where I'm going. Give me the over 7. Give me both teams to score in that first period. The over 1.5 if you want to parlay it somewhere in that first period, because I do think we get those 2 goals, and we see a lot of them coming in. So big shout out, Joe. Thank you for being here. Toronto in regulation, Mark. I think you've got the winner there with that one. Buffalo Sabres team total over. Absolutely. I love the Sabres team total. I think it's, let me just see what that team total is coming in at. That is one that I don't think we're getting the 2.5. I think we're getting the 3.5 with plus money. And that one's going to be a little harder. If we're getting the 2.5 and paying some juice, I don't mind it. Oh yeah, we're getting the 2.5, but we are paying juice at minus 174. So it is too juicy. If you can buy that up to 3, the worst you do is push on that number, because I do think Sorry, all I can see is a hair across my face. I do think we see the 3 goals out of the Buffalo Sabres at bare minimum. I could see 4 in this one. I think we do see both of these teams putting up the goals at left, right, and center. Big shout out to each and every one of you for being here today. Happy Friday, Becky, to you too. I do not have a date tonight. I just washed my hair, but thanks, JP. I love when people can tell that I washed my hair. Okay. Vegas in regulation almost killed you last night. I know. Be careful with that in regulation on the money line. What was Vegas on the money line yesterday? Let me just look back at what we got them on the money line yesterday, because that's one thing. Always be careful, especially if you are parlaying these teams. They were minus 142 on the money line there. So when they're coming in on that, you guys, it kills parlays. Joe, I know that one hurt you yesterday. I am really sorry that you had them in regulation. I was so excited when they got the win because I thought you hit that parlay and it did not come in. Happy Friday, Kev. Let's cash. Benji, Rangers side. What did the Rangers do to you lately? Okay, it feels like a therapy session. Let's jump into the next game, you guys. The Buffalo Sabres plus the 1.5 on the puck line. Kind of think that they should be able to keep that tight at minus 140, but I do think the best play is just the over 7. I don't see it being a lower scoring one like the 4-1 back in January. Now, the Minnesota Wild taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Leafs coming in at minus 210 here. The Wild at plus 172. Now, they've won their last 4. They got the win last night over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like I said, 2-0. It hurt. It really did hurt. Columbus allowing those 2 goals in the first period. If they just could have, played a stronger game in that first period, I think we would have only had a 1-goal game. It was good to see what they were able to do in the second and the third. That being said, Minnesota is one of those teams who, when they get out, they do start to play more of a defensive game. So looking at them coming in here on the back-to-back, now they have struggled versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that is one thing to take into account. They've gone 1-5 and 1-4 in the last 5 meetings versus Toronto. Now, as an underdog, they've won their last 4 games on that second game of a back-to-back. So they do play strong as an underdog on a back-to-back. Toronto, different animal though, I think here. They're such a strong team. Now they're off a win over the Buffalo Sabres. They got the 6-4 or 6-3 win in that one. The only concern with Toronto here is this is a one-off home game. Then they're on the road for 5 games. That starts on Sunday in Seattle. It's the Pacific trip that they're on. So one-off home game when they were on the road. I hate situations like this, but I do think Toronto is such a strong team at home. And with how the Wild have done versus the Leafs, I do think they should be able to get the win. Now, the other concern with Toronto is counting on them to win back-to-back. They won versus the Sabres in their last 5 games following a win. They've lost 4 of those. They've only won 1. So we look at the scheduling. We look at the fact that they're hitting the road with that scheduling. This is a one-off home game. And the fact that they're not good on those win-to-wins. I think this is an opportunity to take the Wild plus the 1.5 at minus 145. I'm expecting a tighter game out of this one. I do expect a defensive battle here. If the Wild want to win this, they're going to have to play absolutely solid defensively. But to shut down Toronto offensively is going to be so hard. This team is doing phenomenal out there on the ice on the offensive side of the puck, averaging 3.45 goals per game and 32.3 shots on goal. So Gustafsson is going to have an absolutely lights out game for this one to hit. He's got a 2.11 goals against average. I don't hate Toronto in regulation. I think they could get it done in regulation. I also don't hate the Wild plus the 1.5. Another way I was looking and flirting with this, I'm not sure if I can get there because then that equals an over, would be Toronto's team total over 3.5. If the Wild come out and on this back-to-back we see struggles defensively, which I don't think we will because we have seen them strong on that back-to-back, Toronto is going to pick them apart. This offense is going to dominate in this game. So I think the safest way to go with this one is expect the Wild to keep it tight at plus 1.5 and to take that under, even though I hate to take an under when the Toronto Maple Leafs are at home in this game. But Samsonov expected in goal for them, and I do like that because we know the Wild have not been lighting up the back of any net, only averaging 2.84. So I think you're pretty solid on this under in this one, taking the under 6, you guys. The under has hit in 7 of the last 9 meetings, also in Toronto, with one of those being a push, and has gone 14, 4, and 1 in the last 19 meetings overall. So you guys, fingers crossed on this under. You know I hate taking unders. Benji rolling with the under. Nylander over 2.5 shots on goal. Who doesn't like Nylander for his over shots? He is being phenomenal. The Wild plus 1.5, 7.5 gets you plus money. Okay. So the Wild plus 1.5 and the under 7.5. Benji, I do like that. I think that is a great way to go. Boston puck line hurt me last night. Yeah, Boston puck line hurt me last night as well. I jumped on that as well. I was glad I had them also in regulation, but that game was fierce out there on the ice. I could not believe the speed and the hard hitting that both these teams were doing. So it was definitely a good one. Okay, James, liking that under too. Everyone jumping on that under. Benji, thank you. I do like that Wild plus 7.5 and the under 7.5 in that game parlayed together. If your book allows you to do same game parlays, some really don't. And I'm finding I'm struggling with that when I'm looking to do a couple same game parlays. The next game, the Montreal Canadiens and the Philadelphia Flyers, 7 o'clock Eastern for this one as well. We've got a total sitting nice and solid at 6.5. Jake Allen expected here for the Montreal Canadiens, and Carter Hart expected for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, just looking at what this line is right now, the Flyers coming in here at minus 170 on the money line, plus 140 for the Montreal Canadiens, and that puck line Montreal plus 1.5 is minus 172. Flyers minus 1.5 is plus 142. And the reason I mention that is because we have seen these teams play notoriously tight games. This isn't one where we really normally see one team blow out the other. Excuse me for 1 second. Oh, excuse me, you guys. Getting a little bit of a cold. So in this matchup, we look at the last time these two teams played. It was back in November. We saw Montreal get a 5-4 win. Now, grabbing them here on the puck line makes no sense because we aren't getting the value, but the underdog has covered the puck line in 13 of the last 14 games between the Montreal Canadiens and the Philadelphia Flyers. So we have seen tight games or that underdog getting the win. Can the Montreal Canadiens roll into Philadelphia and get the win? Absolutely, they could. They've gone 4-1 in their last 5 meetings in Philadelphia, and the road team's gone 7-2 in the last 9 meetings. So I do think there is value on Montreal. Now, they're coming in here off a win over the New Jersey Devils. They got a 5-2 win. The Senators at home tomorrow for them here. So they got this road game. They're back at home tomorrow to face the Senators, who are also in the Atlantic. The Montreal Canadiens sitting 8th in the Atlantic. Now, when we look at the Philadelphia Flyers, they're off that loss to Edmonton. They had a pretty good road trip. They got the win over Calgary. They lost to Edmonton 4-2. They're just super tired in that game. This is their first game home off a 4-game road trip. They've got the Devils on the road tomorrow, who are in the Metro. So when I look at this spot for the Philadelphia Flyers, I think this is a nice opportunity to fade them. They're coming home off a road trip of 4 days. They're hitting the road again tomorrow to face a Metro opponent. They're sitting 7th in the Metro. They've got to face the Devils. We know where the Devils are sitting in the Metro. No one even needs to mention that. I really do think this is an opportunity to grab the dog in Montreal. You got to love the dog tonight, you guys, if you want to take the Montreal Canadiens. Again, Montreal, the line is now at plus 140. Fingers crossed. Good morning to you as well. Montreal and the Flyers, I could see that one going to overtime. Rick, I actually do think that is a good one here. My only concern with these two teams is they both have a divisional opponent on deck. Looking at who schedules harder, I do think It is the Flyers schedule at the moment. So Carter Hart expected here for the Flyers and Jake Allen expected for the Montreal Canadiens. We've looked at this total, and this total sitting at 6.5. I don't want anything to do with it. The unders hit in 6 of the last 8 meetings in Philadelphia, and it's gone over in 4 of the last 6 meetings with 1 push. So let's move on to the next game. We have the Ottawa Senators are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Cam Talbot is in goal for the Ottawa Senators tonight. Now, this is huge for the Senators team. Cam Talbot has been out almost a month now. I think his last game was January 25th. And him being back is a phenomenal thing because he plays the Carolina Hurricanes absolutely insanely good. Now, I have some numbers down here for you guys. So he has played a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games versus the Carolina Hurricanes. He's had 250 save shots on goals, 17 goals allowed, and he's got a 2.06 goals against average versus the Carolina Hurricanes. So he has saved 233 shots from the Hurricanes. He's only allowed 17 out of that 250. That's the math on that. So his save percentage is 0.932. I love Cam Talbot in this to come out strong. I think the Sens can get the upset today. Looking at this matchup here, I do think we have a lower scoring one. I think this is a complete defensive and goaltending battle in this game. Now, we know both these teams can absolutely put up the points. This total is at 6.5 for a reason. This one is going to be so tight to this number. If the Senators can get this win, they need to keep it under the number. Cam Talbot has to play phenomenal. And Frederik Andersen, we know how strong he is as well. He's got a 2.43 goals against average. This team, the Carolina Hurricanes, I love their defense. I do think this is a better team on the ice, but I think there's something about Cam Talbot and something about this Sens team right now. Now, both teams are on their first leg of a back-to-back. When we look at the Senators, they lost that last game to the Bruins. It was a 3-1 loss on Monday. They have Montreal on deck tomorrow, who, like I said, are sitting 8th in the Atlantic. We've got the Senators 7th in the Atlantic. We got the Carolina Hurricanes coming in here first in the Metro. They've won their last 4 games. They got that nice win over the Blues. I believe it was Tuesday. It was a 4-1 win. And they have the Ducks on deck tomorrow. So there is no look ahead here for the Carolina Hurricanes. And I don't think we would ever see the Sens overlook the Canes because they have a divisional opponent on deck the next day. I think this is a good opportunity, though, to take the Sens plus the 1.5 minus 125. I think they can do enough to keep this tight. I do like the under in this one as well. Now, we know how strong the Canes are. This one, you just have to have faith in Cam Talbot. I'm going to look at his save shots on goal in this one as well. I do think it is pivotal that Talbot comes out here and stands on his head. So he has a save shots on goal number of 31.5 at minus 110 to the over at minus 116 to the under. When we look at the Carolina Hurricanes, they are averaging 35 shots on goal per game, which is 3rd overall in the league, and the Ottawa Senators allowing that 32.3. Yes, the Senators defense are going to have to give protection to Cam Talbot tonight, but I do think Cam Talbot saves over 31.5 save shots on goal. It is the only way. So if you believe in the Ottawa Senators tonight, you've got to believe that Cam Talbot can save over this number. We're not relying on the defense of the Senators. We know this defense allows these shots at 32.3. We know they allow an average of 3.2 goals per game. This bet tonight on the Sens is only because I believe in Cam Talbot coming in here against them. Oh, it's going to be a hard one, you guys. I know a lot of you believing in the Canes. If it wasn't Cam Talbot, if it was any other goalie in here, my money would 155% be on the Carolina Hurricanes today. I do think they are the better team. Give me the under. Give me Cam Talbot over 31.5 save shots on goal. Give me the Senators plus 1.5 at minus 125. You guys, I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to sprinkle on that puck line. I'm just going to hit them plus the 1.5. I've been greedy lately. You guys know that. If that money line comes in, I'll tell you I should have been greedy, but I would rather not be greedy. Give me the under in this one. This number is sitting at 6.5. I do think it stays under that number for everything to work with what I'm liking for the Sens. Over 31.5 safe shots. It is absolutely worth taking. That is exactly where I'm going with Cam Talbot's safe shots on goal. Anthony likes the Canes and the under. I like the Canes in regulation. I could see the Canes getting it in regulation, the Senators covering that puck line, and us staying under the total. So I don't hate that at all. And Rick, you are right. The Sens are very strong versus the Eastern Conference. This team is not giving up. They're digging deep. They got off to a slow start this season. But they're really picking up in the Eastern Conference right now. They're not laying down. They're not giving up. They're not calling it a season as of yet. So look out for the Senators. There was such high hopes for this team coming into this season. They are proving to everyone that they can compete in these games. Okay, let's look at the LA Kings versus the New York Islanders. Jonathan Quick will be in goal, should be in goal. Let's see if he's confirmed. Jonathan Quick should be in goal for the LA Kings tonight. You guys know at the start of the season, I had a lot of hope for Jonathan Quick. Okay, it's not confirmed yet, but I'm pretty sure Sorokin is confirmed here for the Islanders. Jonathan Quick, I'm pretty sure we'll see for the LA Kings. I don't have much faith in Quick, but I do think that he doesn't have a terrible night. Sorokin is the better goalie in this matchup. Jonathan Quick coming in with a 3.49 goals against average. The Kings at plus 104. You guys know I love a dog. I can't jump on the Kings in this one. The New York Islanders, though, minus 125. They've won their last 2 games. The last game at home, and then they have the Jets again on the road on Sunday. They just faced the Jets. They got the win 2-1. When we look at the LA Kings, they've lost their last 2 games. They lost to the Devils in overtime 4-3 last night. And they got the Rangers on deck on Sunday. So they won the last matchup, the Kings, 5-2 back in, actually, it was last season. They haven't played this season. Last season, they won it 5-2. They've lost their last 4 also as an underdog, and now they're on the back-to-back. They're facing a Metropolitan team. They are 2-9 in their last 11 versus the Met, and the home team has gone 10-2 in the last 12 meetings between these two. Now, can I jump on the Islanders here at minus 125? I don't want to. I don't know if the Islanders can get it done. We know the Kings never give up. I'm expecting the defense to step up a little bit more with Jonathan Quick. The defense knows these issues with Quick in goal. I think what we're going to see out of this one is actually more goals than this total, and that is what I'm liking. Looking at this total sitting solid at 6, I have to take it to the over. I think if you have any faith in the Kings tonight, you have to believe we're going to see some goals. Now, the Islanders are averaging that 2.9, so their numbers are improving. Before we went into the break, it was closer to 2.86. So we're seeing this number go up. The LA Kings are averaging that 3.31. They're averaging 32.3 shots on goal. Now with Sorokin in here, it's going to be a hard one to get over, but I do think we see goals coming in on both sides. The over has trended nicely between these two, with 8 of the last 11 meetings actually hitting that over. 5 of the last 7 meetings in New York, hitting that over with 1 push. Am I afraid of the push? Absolutely. If you want to buy it down to 5.5, I don't blame you at all, because I was going to say, I doubt we push at 5.5. That is absolutely impossible for us to push at 5.5 to that over. But I do think we go over the 5.5. I definitely think we hit the 6. I would rather be on the over 6 and the under 6, thinking that we probably hit that 6 at worst, because the opportunity for that empty netter is insanely huge. So give me the over 6 in this game. I think it is a solid one. Okay, you've got the over 5.5. So yeah, you guys shop those lines. Get that 5.5 if you can, because I think it goes over that total. There we go. Nope, that's not going to work either. Excuse my hair across my face. Bet online. Okay, so you guys, let's look at the next game, the last game on the board. We have the Colorado Avalanche and the Winnipeg Jets here at 8 o'clock Eastern. Winnipeg and the Avs coming in as a pick'em. Now, this is a really hard game here. Connor Hellebuck expected in goal for the Winnipeg Jets. I love Connor Hellebuck at home. We know he's a stronger goalie at home. The under always is strong, taking in Winnipeg with Connor Hellebuck at home. This team is allowing 31 shots on goal per game, but only 2.59 goals on average. And the Colorado Avalanche allowing that 2.76 goals per game and 32.4 shots on goal. Cale Makar is still out now. Cale Makar is dealing with a concussion, so not sure when he will be back. Georgiev expected here. For the Colorado Avalanche, he's got a 2.74 goals against average. Both of these teams can put up the goals, and that's the scary thing with looking at this total of 6. I wish this one was 6.5, but at 6, I'm going to still hit it under that number. I think in this one, we can rely on goaltending and the defenses. We've seen such solid defenses. This is a battle of the Central, and we know Colorado is sitting right now 4th in the Central. They're going to be digging deep because Winnipeg is sitting above them at 2nd in the Central. These two teams are going to want this win, and I think we will see their defenses step up because of it. Jets offense has been playing bad as of late. I agree with you. The Avs, I just can't get there. I know a lot of you guys are liking the Avs in this one tonight, but you guys, I have to go with Winnipeg at home with Connor Hellebuck. They lost that last game to the Islanders 2-1. This is their first home game off a 4-game road trip, and I know that's normally a fade for me, but this wasn't a successful road trip. They went 1-3 on that road trip. They're going to be so frustrated with what happened off that road trip. I think this is instant revenge. Now, the Avs have won their last 3 games. They got the overtime win versus the Oilers on a Sunday. So this team comes in so rested, but I think this is going to be too much rest after playing in Edmonton on a Sunday, getting that overtime win, or maybe, no, it was in Colorado, 6-5. Now they've got the Flames at home tomorrow. So their schedule is kind of awkward here too. Out on the road, then back home to face the Flames tomorrow. I just think without Cale Makar, with how they played in Winnipeg, they've gone 3-9 in their last 12 games playing in Winnipeg. This team has been putting up the goals like crazy, but I'm relying on the Jets defense to come out here. Now, if you like Colorado, you don't want to bet against Colorado. I do like Nathan MacKinnon over 1.5 points tonight. Nathan MacKinnon coming over 1.5 points tonight is coming in at -122. He has 13 goals, 19 assists, and a plus-minus of +5 in his 34 games against the Winnipeg Jets in his career. So I do think he comes out and has a strong one. He is leading the Colorado Avalanche right now with 67 points in 44 games played. This total, I do think you have to hit it under, looking at Winnipeg to come out and control this one. MacKinnon over 0.5 assists. That definitely should come in and hit nicely. I think MacKinnon does have a very, very solid night. Best parlay for Kev, the Kansas Senators under 6.5, the Maple Leafs and the Wild over 6, the Flyers and the Canadians under 6.5. Good luck, everyone. I like it, Kev. I just kept reading what you were saying. This is why I can't read and talk. You guys, let's recap these games. Let's build a parlay. Kev threw out a nice parlay for you guys. Keep throwing out your parlays. Keep telling me what you won with. Todd took the Boston Bruins in regulation last night, made $800. So keep telling me what you're winning with. I love to hear it, you guys. It's what we're all here to do. We're all here to win money. So let's celebrate each other's wins. Look at those goals. 5, 7, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Lots of goals between the two and the previous. Yeah, there has been a lot of goals. I'm going against the grain for sure. I need Winnipeg's defense to step up. Okay, let's build a parlay. Let's recap these games. The Buffalo Sabres and the Florida Panthers. I think there is value here on the Sabres plus 1.5 at -140. I love the over in this game, and that is where I'm going. I'm going to take the Panthers and the Sabres. Over 7. I think you could look at both their team totals, except it's too highly juiced on the Sabres at over 2.5 at -172. But I do think we get over both their totals I think the first period is an interesting way to look at this one too. Both teams to score in that first period. Let's just see what the value is coming in. The books are starting to catch up on the first periods over 1.5, but both teams to score, we are still getting value. Over 1.5 is minus 215 in that first period, but both teams to score. And that's what I'm going to take for one of my best bets is at plus 116, both teams to score in the first period. I think there is so much value there. The Minnesota Wild and the Toronto Maple Leafs, you guys, this total has dropped down to 6. I do expect a defensive battle in this one. I think the Wild can keep this tight, though. I'm going to take the Wild plus 1.5 on the puck line for the parlay. The Montreal Canadiens and the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, I think Montreal keeps this tight. To straight up bet that one, you're not getting very much value. I don't think this is one of those games where I'm finding a lot that I love in this game. So for the parlay, I'm going to take Montreal plus 1.5 on that puck line because we have seen the underdog be able to keep these games tight. We've seen Montreal play strong as well in Philadelphia. Just not a game that I'm rushing to bet, but I'll put Montreal in the parlay plus 1.5. The Ottawa Senators and the Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, the Canes are the better team, but with Cam Talbot here, I do think the Sens have the opportunity to at least keep this tight. I'm taking the Sens plus 1.5 at minus 125 in the parlay, and I think that's one of my best bets. The Sens plus 1.5. I do think they are this is a 1-goal game. I think it stays under the total of 6.5 that we see. These teams both step up defensively. I think Cam Talbot, it's going to go out to my clients. Cam Talbot, now that he is solidly confirmed and the books have numbers, over 31.5 safe shots on goal. I absolutely love. We know the Canes are getting these shots on goal, averaging 35 shots on goal per game, which is 3rd overall in the league. They're only allowing 26.5. So I wouldn't look at Frederik Andersen for his safe shots. I don't want to go there, but Cam Talbot over 31.5. We know the Ottawa Senators are allowing that 32.3 and should allow these shots to come in on Cam Talbot. I just need Cam Talbot to have a phenomenal night. If Cam Talbot does not have a good night, he's not going to hit his over, and the Sens are not going to hold this game to plus 1.5. We'll see the Canes dominate and cover the puck line. Now, looking at the Senators on the puck line, 15-11 on the road on the puck line. Carolina not blowing teams out at home, 11-17 on that puck line at home, you guys. The last 2 games, the LA Kings versus the New York Islanders. You guys, I think this one goes over 6. I'm going to take the Kings and the Islanders for the parlay over 6. I don't love a side in this one. I just can't get there. I could see the Islanders getting the home win, but at minus 125, I don't love it. So just give me the over 6. And the Colorado Avalanche and the Winnipeg Jets. I know so many of you liking Colorado in this one, and you've seen these goals coming in. I don't blame you for going that way with this game. We've seen 5 of the last 7 meetings go over that total. We have seen the under hit in 4 of the last 5 in Winnipeg. I'm expecting Winnipeg to win this, so the only way I can take that total is hitting it under. I'm expecting a phenomenal defensive and goaltending game out of the Winnipeg Jets. If they want to get this win versus Colorado, they have to shut down Colorado, Nathan MacKinnon. But I do think Nathan MacKinnon is the one who gets the points on the board, the assists on the board, the goals on the board. So over 1.5 points tonight for Nathan MacKinnon is coming in at minus 122. But I expect Winnipeg to get the win. I'm going to leave Winnipeg out of the parlay, but it is one of my best bets. Winnipeg on that money line at a pick and price. I cannot turn them down with Connor Hellebuck. It's kind of like one of those go-to bets when you have him. So to recap that parlay, you guys, I'm going to take the Panthers and the Sabres over 7.5 for the parlay. The Wild on the puck line plus 1.5. The Montreal Canadiens on the puck line plus 1.5. The Sens plus 1.5 on the puck line. And the Kings and the Islanders over 6. Now, best bets, I'm looking at Panthers and the Sabres, both teams to score in the first period. That is different from the first period over 1.5. The over 1.5 is highly juiced. Both teams to score in the first period is coming in at plus 116. We saw it in the Edmonton game last night. Same sort of thing. When that line is too highly juiced, and it hit last night, both teams to score is the way to go if you think both these teams can score. We know how strong offensively both these teams are. The other bets that I'm loving is the Sens plus the 1.5 and the Winnipeg Jets on the money line, and then Cam Talbot over 31.5 save shots on goal. The Flames. Oh, I am so sorry. The Flames did not get it done for you, Jason. The Flames. I had Vegas on the money line. I tell you, I can't trust my Flames to save their lives. Now, they face Colorado tomorrow. They've had the day off. Colorado's on the back-to-back. Colorado is in Winnipeg tonight. Have to go home to Colorado to face the Flames, who are probably already there getting ready for that game. Might be an opportunity for the Calgary Flames tomorrow, Jason, if you trust in them. The Senators and versus the Hurricanes. I am taking that one to the under. Senators versus Hurricanes if I have to bet it. It's not one that I'm rushing to the window to bet that under, but we have seen the under hit in 10 of the last 14 and 26 and 2 in the past 28 in Carolina. Panthers and Calgary, good team to fade. Never confident in those two. I'm getting there with teams that I want to fade too. I love O'Reilly to Toronto. Toronto is fully stacked. Toronto, with all of their new players here, I really hope they make it out of the first round. We know Toronto has absolutely struggled to make it out of the first round of the playoffs. If they can make it out of the first round this year with their changes, this is their best chance because I love Ryan O'Reilly going over to Toronto. Kane needs, yeah, absolutely. Patrick Kane is absolutely playing for his career somewhere else. So it'll be really interesting to see where Patrick Kane lands. Not sure where he's going to go. I wish you guys all the best. Yeah, we need to forget about the Bruins on the puck line yesterday. Let's make some freaking money, you guys. It is that time. We're done for the day. I want to wish you guys all the best in all your bets tonight. Make sure, again, you hit that subscribe button so you know when I go live tomorrow. Like I said, sporadic. My Cup of Joe play is up, so take a look for that. I'm also going to have my 2 college basketball quick picks coming out in a short video. And people asking for kind of like a recap coming out in my YouTube shorts. Let me know what you guys think if you want that as well. I want you guys all here. I don't want to take away from this live chat. I'd be really sad if you guys all just watch the short instead of joining me here. The short won't have any information. It will just have quick recap of a couple of these bets. So a lot of people just finding it hard to have the time to watch the show. So I'm going to try to do both. Just don't go anywhere here, you guys, all in my live chat, because I love having the interaction with you guys each and every day. It's why I do it. If I didn't have the interaction, I honestly wouldn't be doing it. So you guys are the best. You keep this show going. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's make some freaking money. I will see you tomorrow at, I don't know. So hit the subscribe. You guys are absolutely the best. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.